Namaskar. Good evening to the viewers of Pandit Ravi Shankar Music Foundation. I welcome you for the series of talks named Reflections on remembering none other than Bharat Ratna Pandit Ravi Shankar ji. But today it's a, it's a very mournful week this week. Due to this week we lost legends like Raj Indori Saab, and today also we lost former cricketer Chetan Chauhan ji. So may therefore rest in peace. Today's guest, a little bit in talking about the guest of today, is that at the age of 3, he started playing sitar, and at the age of 6, he was a child prodigy and started giving public performances. And he is none other than Ustad Shujaat Hussain Khan sahab. I welcome on behalf of Pandit Ravi Shankar Music Foundation, Ustad Shujaat Khan sahab.
Thank you, Bhaisab.
Namaskar, Bhai Sahab, kaise hain? How are you?
Very well, Bhaisab. Thank you. Sabti. Thank you.
And to speak to Shujaat Khan Bhai, senior most disciple of Pandit Ravi Shankar ji, Gaurav Mazumdar ji. I welcome Gaurav Mazumdar ji to the show.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Nabarun, thank you very much. Shujaat bhai, mera pranam aapko.
Namaskar, Bhaisab.
What a pleasure and honor to have you and go through your memories and reflections. What a pleasure. Before I start, it would be nice to know these 5 months. It's been such a challenging and difficult time for everyone, especially musicians who travel so much. What would you like to say? How did you deal with a challenging situation like this?
Gaurav, I am no different from anyone else. It's not only the desire to travel and perform is not, people think it's to do with finances, it's to do with earning. Oh, yes, so you're earning, yes. I understand, part of it is that too. But I think the life of a musician is travel and perform. Every now and then when you get on stage and you play, your people who come to listen to you and you play for them, this back and forth of love and affection and music, this is what we live for and this is what we practice all our lives. So when that is taken away from you, it becomes extremely scary and horrible. But I don't want to glorify my pain or the pain of only artists, because the whole world, it's something that no one country or one religion or one people or one zone can complain about. It's a pandemic all over the world. Everyone is in trouble. So when my livelihood, my enjoyment, and my life that I live for to travel and perform, when that gets taken away, snatched away, there are so many different stages of feelings that I have gone through in the last 5 months. There have been anger. There's fear. Everyone's going to die. I'll die a horrible death and I'll not be able to breathe, whatever it is. There is, I've had anxiety. There's an anxiety, what is going to happen? Because like when you ask someone to do a fast, you say, well, you have to fast for 10 hours. So you, in your mind, 10 hours later I can eat. But here it doesn't seem to, no one seems to know when it's going to be. So I've been through all this, not real depression, but depressing thoughts. Oh, this is terrible. What am I supposed? So anxiety, anxiousness, unhappiness, fear, sorrow, anger. It's a normal thing. But over the last couple of months, I should say, I'm starting to already see the corner. Everything is turning a corner. People's minds are turning a corner, understanding. It doesn't seem to be like this is the end of the world as far as an illness goes. People get ill on different levels. So it's something like this. It's something that you have to deal with. People are finding ways to deal with it. I feel much worse for all the politics involved with the illness, with all that happening. But in the last 1 or 2 months, I am seeing everything. It's like turning a curve, and I see that people are understanding that life will come back sooner than later. To even people are starting to perform. There are private concerts that are starting, which is a great thing, because I always thought, yeah, music is the last thing in the round. So everything else will happen, only then music and entertainment will start. But it seems as if people understand and enjoy music, and it's something it does for your soul. It's different. It's not tangible what music does for you. आपको कहाँ ये दर्द होता है? It doesn't. But it is something, and people are enjoying and understanding that. So it's a good thing. I'm happy at how things are turning around. It's been a bad period for everyone, but we are coming out of it.
Because in fact, just a few days back, correct me if I'm wrong, I think 2 days back, I was able to catch your concert in the morning, early morning. You were playing Jhinjhoti, and it was itna sukoon tha aapke us rendition, and I started to watch, and I watched the whole thing. And it seems that internet is now the next happening thing, where people are going to find an expression of what they do while they are in this situation.
Yes. It seems like this, but Gaurav, it's an unnatural thing, na? You and me, as we are talking now, or if I was playing the sitar and people listening to it on their telephones or screens, it's an unnatural thing. This is not what music is for. Music has to be done live, because the vibrations and the energy, ये सब शास्त्र में लिखा है. It is only given and taken when it's live. So what we are going through, I feel, is an interim period where we are realizing that till we can get back on stage, then still let's keep in touch. Let's enjoy each other. Let's still enjoy the music, and hope and understand that one day we'll come back to it. But I do understand that we have to get back to the natural way of music, because that is what gives you real pleasure in your soul. It's not for the eyes. But one day we will all. I'm looking forward to being with people, because human to human is the most important thing. So I think we'll come back to that. Thoda time lagega, but not too long.
That's such a positive thing, especially now coming from you. It means a lot for young musicians and a lot of people who are listening. And 2020 is the birth centenary of Pandit Ravi Shankar ji.
Mm-hmm.
And we had planned a lot of things, many things. And well, as Pandit Ravi Shankar ji's wife, Sukanya ji, she just called a few minutes before we were on, and she was in fact listening to your playing a concert, and she forwarded me "Kisi aur se nahi sunni unki zubani," that song. And she basically, we have to wait. And what Sukanya ji says is that when we make plans, God up there, he's laughing, because he's the one who's basically thinking, okay, ठीक है, आप अपना plan बना लो, फिर मैं देखता हूँ क्या होगा. So we made all plans, and right now they are on hold. And meanwhile, we thought it would be nice to speak to people, eminent people like you, who have had an association with Pandit Ravi Shankar ji, and just to know what you have to say about his centenary, about his life, about his music, about your association. So we are all here to listen to you. We are all ears and looking, and really we are eager to listen to you.
Baisa, like I told you before, I'm not very good interview material.
Ji.
Because I've never been very good at sharing my emotions and thoughts verbally, at least.
Ji.
Musically, yes. When you hear my music, you will understand what I am. And my wife and my children and my friends and my students, they have realized over the years that they have to judge my emotions through my actions, not my words.
जी, जी.
Chocolate or flowers and roses lana zaruri nahi hai. There are other actions that can show people what I feel for them. Same way, Ravi Kaka, as I used to call him, most of my interactions and meetings with him has been in private. It's been him and me, or him and me and few people. Of course, we met publicly, and it's a very nice endorsement I have had. There have been times in Delhi, and it's not, I couldn't be lying, because it's not as if I'm talking about what happened millions of years ago in Timbuktu. It happened in Delhi. I was performing and some at Kamani, and someone comes and says, the artist before me was playing. He says, Ravi Shankar ji aaye hain. By then, I was about to go and see him. He met me at the corridor and said, listen, he used to talk to me in Bengali. I have come to listen to you. So now I'll sit down and wait. So I will listen to you. And after that, I will not stay because there will be too many people there. And I said, things like that, an endorsement of a great artist endorsing a product that, yes, I endorse the fact that you are a young musician who is at least trying his best. We have spent private time together when he has talked to me about his life, about his relationship with my father. He has talked to me about myself and said, I'm glad to see. And the interesting thing is, he never talked to me very much about music, but he talked to me about humanity and said, more than the musician that you are, we all know and the whole world knows, and you have a destiny that you will lead. More than that, it's my pleasure to see that and hear that everyone who talks about you in a very happy, glowing terms of you being an honest and straightforward, nice person. And those are qualities that are much bigger than being a great artist. And I understand his point. Small instances, he could do that. I met him many times in a group of 30 people or 40 people or 100 people. If I was in the room and he was in the room, it's never happened that he will not single me out and call me, say, Shujaat, whoever was next to him said, Zara, hatiye and come and sit next to me. And I think as a human being, he understood. He knew how much I respected him. I think that's the most important thing here, is that he knew my respect for him, my respect for his art. He knew that I didn't care about what people said, what people thought about him, my father, me. It doesn't matter. For me, it was a relationship between him and me. I'm happy that I was in my life able to get across to him of my respect for him as for who he was. And in the middle of all that, we spent some very nice, funny little anecdotes and happy jokes, humorous little times, little sentences. So my association with him can't have been too much. He was one of the greatest performing traveling musicians, and I was doing my own travel. So, but when we did meet, it was always very warm. And like I said, for me, an elder giving his blessings and an endorsement and teachings in a very positive and nice manner.
It is amazing. It's amazing because I have quite a few times in Lodi Estate and in Chanakyapuri at Rimpa. I have seen you share space with him, and it's always been very warm and very loving. And of course, I have also seen personally the bonding and relationship he shared with Ustad Vilayat Khan Sahab. And I'll never forget 1986 when Guruji had his bypass surgery. He had just flown out, and Khan Sahab was in Delhi. And one afternoon, we were just waiting to hear from New York the news about Guruji's, the first few tests and everything. And the bell rang and we opened. It was Khan Sahab, Ustad Vilayat Khan Sahab. And with full concern, he sat with us for maybe an hour. He didn't realize that Guruji has left already for New York. And he wrote a beautiful letter for Guruji saying that, please give it to him. I'm concerned. I pray for him. And I really hope I see him soon and wish him luck. So that's sort of such a beautiful brotherly relationship.
Yeah. You see, when there are two artists, like two sportsmen, don't expect them to be bum chums. They can't. Because you don't have time to have deep relationships. One needs time. They didn't have time. They were all leading their individual careers, so there was no time. So you shouldn't call the relationship a friendship. I don't have to call it a friendship. There's no need. There is no need for artists or for contemporaries to be friends. It's unnatural. But then there is something called enemies. You don't have to be enemies either, because one comes to this world with a destiny. And people like me, I am a very ordinary man, but I am leading a very extraordinary destiny, which is put on my shoulders. Whether I do justice to it or not is not important. But the fact is, it is given to me and I have to do my best. So the problem with a lot of artists today and a lot of youngsters today, and artists of that time also, a lot of them, there was a frustration and anger in their inability to be who they are or what they perceived themselves they wanted to be. So there was always a wrong impression of what you should deserve, not understanding that God gives you only what you deserve and what your ability is. So these people like Ravi Shankar, Vilayat Khan Sahab, they were really busy with their worlds, number one. Number two, they were misquoted a lot by, so when Chinese whispers, do you know this game?
Chinese whispers.
It starts with, me telling someone, and then by the time it goes around the room, finally, when it comes to the last person, it's something else. It's either totally blown out of proportion or something else altogether. So ye bhi hota tha. My father was an extremely emotional person.
Yeah.
And when he said something, he didn't mince words. So he said things, but those things were never derogatory. It was just explaining the difference between the personalities and the path of Ravi Shankar ji and Vilayat Khan Sahab. But at the end of the day, both of them knew that they will get what they deserve and what is written across their forehead. No one can take it away. Whatever greatness, whatever name, fame, money, whatever is written, you will get that. And they already know that they will be known and remembered the rest of their lives as legends. The problem kya hai? Then why is there this perceived enmity or perceived anger? So I think of what I have seen with Ravi Kaka, or what I have seen. Ravi Kaka used to tell me, he says, "Yeah, tumhara father and I." Sometimes he says things he doesn't think that he just says it. He doesn't think that it will be blown out of proportion or it will be taken the wrong way. In a laughing manner, he used to. My father, so I've seen that. Of course, you have to respect. You might not say it. If you're a really cheap and terrible person, you will not say it. But heart of hearts, you respect another artist's greatness. You can't run away from that. ये तो आप नहीं कह सकते ना. I can't sit here and say that A, B, C, D, E, F, G are not good artists. What's the point? It's the reality. If people love you, people put you on your head, on your shoulders, people come and listen to you, people call. At the end of the day, it's what people make you. There are hundreds of people who don't like my music. I understand that. But I'm not catering to them. It's fine, and it should be. Everyone can't love everyone's music. But if there is a certain amount of people who come and listen to you, that's your life. And I think both of them were quite content in who they are. And Ravi Kaka, he was leading an international career. That time kitna hai to sit down and actually go think about other artists and what they're doing and what they said and why in A, B, C, D. So there are lots of things that have been blown out of proportion for no reason. Oh, India में तमाशा तो चाहिए ना. Without tamasha, this country doesn't survive. So everyone needs that. So you're absolutely right. I've seen with both of them extreme mutual admiration and mutual understanding of who the other artist and what his greatness is. You're absolutely right.
And I must say that I have not met anybody who doesn't like your music. You might think there are hundreds, but you have made such. So that's not true. In fact, Chinnama from London, Sukanya ji, she's watching and she is sending her best wishes.
Please give her my regards and my pronouns.
She's watching. She's right there, and she is requesting. She wants to hear something from you. So because she sent me, as I said in the beginning, सुननी नहीं है हमको किसी और की जुबानी.
Okay.
उनको सुनना है शुजात भाई की जुबानी.
सुनो.
Chinnama, please listen.
Sagama pare gamare ni papa magare dhani sa ye inayate ghazab ki ye bala ki meherbani ye inayate ghazab ki ye bala ki meherbani किसी और sorry I forgot the hum मेरी खैरियत भी पूछी किसी और की जुबानी इनायत गज़ब की ये बला की मेहरबानी मेरी बेजुबां आँखों से गिरे जो चंद कतरे मेरी बेजुबां आँखों से गिरे जो चंद कतरे जो समझ सको तो आंसू ना समझ सको तो पानी ये इनायत गज़ब की ये बला की मेहरबानी सुननी नहीं है हमको किसी और की जुबानी सुननी नहीं है हमको किसी और की जुबानी तेरी सुबह कह रही है तेरी रात की कहानी ये इनायत गज़ब की ये बला की मेहरबानी. इसका एक और शेर है which I like very much. Pani sagare ni sagare mada pare magare sagare sani ni dhani saga मुझे फूकने से पहले मेरा दिल निकाल लेना मुझे फूकने से पहले मेरा दिल निकाल लेना किसी और की अमानत कहीं साथ जल न जाए ये इनायत गज़ब की ये बला की मेहरबानी. ये सुकन्या जी के लिए हो गया. यार मेरे को गाना आता नहीं है. I'm not a singer at all. I've never practiced singing in my life. But because we learn vocally, so I थोड़ा गाता हूँ. But it's a very uncultured, unpracticed voice. So I just...
We love your... No, it's not. We love your voice.
I'm just sharing.
Sir, just a minute. अभी भाई साहब ने कहा कि पता नहीं मैं अच्छा करता हूँ नहीं करता हूँ. मुझे ऐसा लगता है भाई साहब कि आपको तो दीवाने मेरे घर में बैठे हुए हैं. मेरी वाइफ वो वाला गाना जो आपका जो गजल था, जिंदगी से बड़ी सजा ही नहीं और क्या जुर्म है पता ही नहीं, जो आपका जो कॉम्बो है भाई साहब, सितार और वोकल जो आप गा रहे हैं ना, कमाल का है. और मेरी मिसेस को मतलब मैं सच बताऊं, मैं बोलना चाह रहा हूं दर्शकों के बीच में कि वो इसमें एंजॉय करती, दिन भर इस गाने को गुनगुनाती रहती हैं. तो शी वाज मतलब अभी बीच में कहन के जरूर आप इसको बताइएगा कि मतलब हम लोग भी बैठे हुए
उनको कहिएगा कि वो मेरे गाने का कमाल नहीं है, वो तो सिर्फ अल्फाज बड़े खूबसूरत है तो वो मैं आई एम शेयरिंग विद यू, और बस इट्स नथिंग, आई एम नॉट अ सिंगर.
That is your greatness. I have to mention an incident here, which is because I do still have, even though I don't have a cassette player anymore, but I still have, because Jawahar Wattal, he was a dear friend, and he gave me the cassette Lajo Lajo, and it's one of my favorites. I listened to it, and when it was released, one day I still remember, तालीब में हम लोग बैठे हुए थे, and गुरुजी ने हमको बोला कि आपका नाम लेके कि शुजात का कोई नया एल्बम आया है लाजो लाजो, and he was a very aware man, he knew everything.
जी, of course,
बहुत awareness. तो मैंने कहा जी जी जी, बोला तुमने सुना है, तुमने हमको नहीं सुनाया. हमने कहा नहीं गुरुजी, I just got the cassette from Jawahar Wattal, and he says ले आओ उसको, एक काम करो, अभी तालीम हो जाए उसके बाद तुम ले आओ, हम लोग खाना खा के फिर आराम से बैठ के सुनेंगे. And believe me, we had lunch, and then he brought that, he had a 2-in-1, do cassette wala, and the whole thing we sat and listened, and he was so appreciative and so happy listening. So he says this is something different, this is something new. At the same time, this has got depth and both voice and sitar.
भाई साहब अभी वो तो खैर अभी उसके अब छोड़िए बात, but what you can focus on in this story of a person who is so comfortable with who he is and his own life, and is ready to appreciate another person, doesn't matter how junior he is. Okay? Yes. Have you noticed that? Otherwise, most artists are only surrounded by people. There's this coterie of people who surround them and sit, wah, wah, kya baat hai, ye, wo, talking, doing all this for their teacher or guru, and bad-mouthing other people.
No.
Sitting there, oh, उधर ऐसा किया, उसने ऐसा किया, वो उसको इसको इतना बुरा हुआ, उसका प्रोग्राम इतना खराब हुआ. That's all, and वाह वाह हो रहा है. So instead of that, doing something which means something musically, कि यार तुम लोग भाई सुना है, चलो वो सुन लेते हैं खाना खाते खाते. Not that it is doing him any great favor to his ears by listening to me, but the fact is there is an openness in that humanity, and for whatever it is worth, I think this is very important for us to learn. Sportsmen वो लड़ते भिड़ते उसके बाद आप देखो how much respect they have for each other. Artists get so wrapped up in their frustrations, in their anger, in their they make this big thing about themselves in their head. There is no openness, their arrogance. Pride is a good thing, but when it slides into arrogance, it's a very horrible thing. So I think artists should open up a little more and start appreciating, instead of looking at other artists saying he's a great player, that's a horrible thing. And I have to say, actually understand and enjoy other people's music. I listen to all kinds of music and I enjoy it. I don't even have a music system at home. I don't listen to my own music. So, but you should listen to music, and it's great fun. I'm honored that a person.
I'll never forget. And I still have that cassette, that same cassette which Guruji touched with his own hands, because bole humko to main lagaunga. So and we finished. He didn't want to listen it while eating. He said खाना खत्म हो गया. We will sit down, and he sat on the sofa और अपने हाथ से उन्होंने लगाया उसको. And I still have it. It's a prized possession.
अब कितना गाली खाया उसको लेके यार. After that was released, so many artists इतना, instead of thinking that it's just another expression of an artist. ठीक है ना? If Ravi Kaka made music for films, does that make him a bad classical artist? Or if he sat and played music with a Western classical artist, does it make him a bad film artist? I mean, if you, in your personality and your character and your fingers and your brain and your heart, have the possibilities to do 2, 3, 4 things and enjoy, at the end of it is still saregama hi hai na, and it's a sitar. So if you have that person, why not do it? So it's very easy. If you have decided to belittle people around you, then ये तो होगा ही.
It doesn't.
आप जैसे मैंने बोला, ये great artists say, this is one thing I've learned. This is that ठीक है, we all have our anxieties. I just told you right at the beginning. We have our anxieties, we have our fears, we have our shortcomings. I am far from perfect from human being. I am full of mistakes. I make mistakes every day. I realize there are so many things about myself I'd like to change. It's too late, doesn't matter. But my point is that you walk your own path.
Yes.
जैसे जैसे हाथी चलता है, कुत्ते भौंकेंगे, भाव भाव भाव. Can they stop an elephant walking?
No.
So आप अपना रास्ता चलेंगे. This is what I am. You have a conviction. You are walking, and then you decide. Sometimes that walk is against the flow. All my life I have swum against the flow.
Yes.
The river इस तरफ चलता है because I'm Vilayat Khan son. People has always told. आप भैरवी बजाइए ना. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. विलायत खान साहब बजाते थे. ठीक. तो प्रोग्राम में पहुंचा, शुजात भाई वो बजाइए विलायत खान साहब. हमने उनको सुना था, वो ऐसा दरबारी बजाया था. अरे भाई बोला विलायत खान साहब ने बजाया था, मैं शुजात खान साहब हूँ. तो ये तकलीफ ले ले की जिंदगी में I realized that if this is a tide, this is the flow. But if I want a particular, this is my personality, this is the character of my music, this is how I have to swim. And I am one of the most unsuccessful artists of our time, because there were people so many years just didn't. Buddhaditya Mukherjee sahab, at one time in the early 80s, for every 100 concert he played, I used to play one concert. For Khan Sahab, Nishad Khan Sahab hain, for every 50 concerts he played, I played one concert. So I have been through a time where people were not ready to accept me because I was Vilayat Khan's son and I did not play like Vilayat Khan Sahab. But I have seen other people suffer. I have seen Munawar Khan Sahab suffer because Munawar Khan Sahab has had a personality, but everyone wanted him to be Bade Ghulam Ali Khan Sahab. So I understand that. So I told my wife, I said, Parveen, I'm sorry, because if I keep doing music, I might not be able to provide for you. Because people want me to do something that I'm not. They want me to be something that I'm not. And this is who I am. I am not a great artist. This is what I have. This is my limitations. I just want to play music. People like it, fine. I'm glad that over the last 10, 15, 20 years, they have recognized and understood who I am and what I have and understand कि हाँ ये भी कोई चीज है. But उसके बीच में भी अगर आप एक दूसरे को बुरा समझते हो, if you look at another person and you feel bad, and envy, one of our jealousy is one of the most horrible things of a human being character. We all have it. I get envious of something and I get jealous, but I have to explain to myself. So you sit down, but some people don't have that filter. That when the envy comes up, they just let it go. When anger comes up, they just let it go. So we have to understand this, and all these things we learn from great people. That they know what to do with their emotions, and how to present themselves to the world, and we should understand that.
Yeah. So one aspect of your singing and playing, I just gave you which I have seen and heard from my ears by Pandit, none other than Pandit Ravi Shankar ji. एक और मैं इंसिडेंट बोलना चाहूंगा. After your concert at the Tansen Festival here in Delhi, I still remember Chinnamma was at that concert, Sukanya ji. And after coming back, she told me this is exactly, and she's listening now. She's in London, she's listening live. She said, I don't believe the hands he has. And the chala he played without stopping, that energy, how many hours of practice he must have done to achieve this. So आप कैसे बोल सकते हैं कि you have it all, but you're intelligent enough to find a new way for yourself. I think it's an example for everybody to see you and realize, let's be ourselves and let's not be anybody else. I think that's the take I'm going to take from here, Shujaat bhai.
Gaurav bhai, I think what she must have felt that day is exactly what I have been trying to get across to people, that the jhala has many different things. There is one vision of jhala like lightning. Finished. Then there is a jhala which is like the summer rain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like once you start the jhala, it's like a trance, and you build it up and enjoy the beauty of the melody with that. And this is something that I enjoyed. I used to, when I was younger, I also went, I did that, which also, I understand that. But there is something more. As an artist, you will understand, once you start Jhala and for 15 days, for 15 minutes, you don't stop 1 second. So that's what people say, why do you keep 2 tabla players? I said straight, because one of them every now and then, with the one uska change ho jata hai. It'll stop, do something else, tune. I don't want that. I just want for it's difficult, it's work. So I'm glad that one of the things she said, which is actually true, I've been trying to get across to people. I said, please, please, I have also done a lot of practice. I have also killed myself. I've also hurt my fingers. I have also spent mind-numbing hours and hours and thousands of hours of practice. And also, I'm very clear about my life. I said, music is not the end all and be all of my existence. My family, my wife, my children, my students, my friends, my dogs, my listeners, my travel, all these things are an equally important part of my life. So people need to understand that this is my fragrance, and people who enjoy it, I am so blessed. I'm so blessed. I go, I'm in Delhi, Calcutta, बैठता हूँ, 2,500, 4,000, 5,000 आदमी, people come and listen with attention, with each word I say, with each note I play. It's with extreme gratefulness. I never imagined, I was so scared, I never imagined that I would be in a place one day where I would be able to give my expression and have people accept it. So this is so it's I'm glad that people see, I'm glad that she sees that I'm not just Vilayat Khan Saab's son. Everyone says, all my life there's been this perception. अरे वो तो विलायत खान साहब का बेटा है, तो क्या problem है? तो उसको तो सब कुछ विलायत खान साहब ने must have given some kind of magic pill, so he knows how to do it. So क्या है? And also there has been so many years of my struggle where I didn't get work, because not because of any other thing, because people, when there was a people, they say, "Arey yaar, there is a concert. Why don't you? Us bichare ko de do, is bichare ko de do, is bichare ko de. Let's give it to that poor thing." But Shujat, uska kya problem hai? Mercedes hai, house hai, Vedat ka sab hai, theek hai. But when I was out of the house and when I'm on the streets and when I'm struggling and when I have no money and I have no food, no one sees that. They want to see what they want to see. They don't see my pain. They don't see my sorrow. They don't see my humility. They don't see my humiliation. They don't see what I have been through as Vilayat Khan Saab's son. I went to the music industry to give an audition. I was made to sit outside on this footpath from 9 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening with my sitar. Wait, we will call you in for an audition, you wait. You think they didn't know I was Vilayat Khan's son? In most probably it was being done because I was Vilayat Khan's son. Oh, so we will cut you down to size. All my life, people have been wanting to cut me down to size, but the fact is, I know I'm fat, I'm big, so you don't have to cut me. I'm saying that I don't have a sense of a rightful heir. I don't call myself the Khalifa of the Gharana, although I am. I don't push I'm Vilayat Khan's son into your face. I always say I'm Shujaat Khan. That's it. If you know I'm Vilayat Khan's son, that's great. But as soon as you put your name, you have probably struggled through this. In fact, with your adding your name to him, acha, you would learn from acha. That means your expectations from you get sky high. Who understands this? Who understands that you're walking on earth with the name of a legend like this on your shoulder and their expectations? So it's taken time. I'm 60 today, so it's been, let's say, the last 15 years, 20 years, where people are giving me my space. Otherwise, it has just been this. Oh, Shujaat Khan, he must be an arrogant, pig. This perception. So I get it, and I'm extremely, extremely grateful that people see that I also did my best. I still try my best.
Yes, I'm sure about that, because these two incidents, they tell a lot. And me being a student of sitar, when I see you play, when I see your hands and how beautifully they are, you know, it cannot be without this hard practice, what you're saying, your fingers bled and you practice for hours. And also, which many people might not know, that you have seen days without eating. You
Yep.
have, you have, you know, you have seen that struggle, without which you wouldn't be what you are today. And it is wonderful, because we celebrate your music. We love your music. We all listen to it regularly.
I'm blessed, Vaisa. Thank you so
And
much. It's such a pleasure. And I because of how I respect my elders, or my father, Ravi ji, Shiv Kumar Sharma Jha, Pandit Jasraj, all these names I'm taking of people who are alive, and Ustad Ravi Hasan, they know how much I respect them, and I treat them like God. I meet when I met Ravi Kaka, or my hands used to start, I had to keep them covered. I used to either keep them under my, or under my hand, or some shawl or some jacket on top of it, because my hands used to shake. Not because of fear, because of this overwhelming pleasure of understanding that these are a few moments that I am going to get on this earth with this human being, and that enjoyment, and the fear of saying something wrong, making a mistake, God not, or just being in the presence of a person like this. You people are lucky. When I was with my father, yes, we will spend a lot of time. When you get used to being with a person, it's different. You see a different person from a different perspective. You understand. But for people like us, when we are boom in front of a legend, it's so. I'm really happy when people who are younger than me are able to openly say that, yes, Shujaat bhai, we love your music and we enjoy your music. It shows a big heart, and without a big heart, you can never be a great musician. दिल इतना सा छोटा छोटा रहता है, वो म्यूजिक भी आपका छोटा ही रहेगा. It will never be big, never. So thank you so much. Thank you.
I'll never forget that evening. We were in Chanakyapuri. So Sukanya ji sat, and when she told about your jhala, so I came home. We had dinner together, and she cooked a beautiful meal. मैंने आके कम से कम 2 घंटा उस दिन मैंने कहा कोशिश करता. If I can do that without stopping, and believe me, it's, I mean, only I think people who play the sitar will know how difficult that is. I mean, Anushka has a beautiful hand. When she plays jhala or tans, her beautiful hands, the way it forms, it's a pleasure to see. That reminds me, there is one incident I would love to hear from you. Early morning, possibly, if I'm wrong, correct me, in Dehradun, you learning Bilas Khani Todi, and Amir Khasab walking in, and your father was teaching you.
No.
Okay, the other way around.
No. Sorry, okay. The other way around.
Okay.
You see, Gaurav bhai, one other plus point of a person like me, of my, देखो, Ravi Shankar ji आज नहीं है. Ustad Shujaat is not there. So a little whiff of who he was, or their thoughts, or who they were. Now we have become what we call today's senior statements of the instrumental music, or at least the sitar. So everyone is playing really good music. Everyone is much greater and much better musicians than I am, and I can see that, and I enjoy their music. But there's something. What is special or different about being Shujaat Khan is the fact that because you are the son of a great artist, A, and B, because you are open to learning from a very young age, I have got the opportunities, and I've spent time with the greatest artists of our time. And those times that are spent that reflects in my music. So if I play da 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 da, I mean, you see, there is a statement in one line, in the other line there is submission. Da 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 da. Saga pa sa ni da ma da pa. समझ रहे हो? Now all this it doesn't come. You open your face and ऐसा नहीं है. Millions of hours of sitting and listening. I have girlfriends, friends. Let's go out to a club. nahi. But I have the opportunity of spending 20 minutes with that great artist. तुम लोग जाओ, I'll be here. Or concert, or nahi, I am a chance to have a little travel with this great artist. Let me do that. Each little thing that I have spent time with Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, Ustad Amir Khan Sahab, great artists, just to sit with them. So when Ustad Amir Khan Sahab used to come and study, with my father, they used to have these little sessions of music, of talking about rags, about lots of things. And we used to spend time together. And one of his trips to Dehradun, I was, because I wanted to spend the day with them, I used to get up very early morning to practice. So I remember about 5:30, 6 o'clock. Then you had that little drink session in the evening, you know. So I thought they were fast asleep. मैं अपने कमरे में रियाज कर रहा था. So it's a great thing for people to understand and imagine the respect people had. So I was sitting and practicing on the floor, and the door opens, and Ustad Amir Khan Sahab walks in. Oh. Everyone who has seen him or heard of him, he was a very, very kind of serious personality. He was funny, but very serious. You know. So he walks into the room. So I'm about to stop. He said, no, bajao, bajao. So I'm sitting and playing. So he sits down on the bed. So he's on the bed, and I'm on the floor, and I'm playing. Bilas Khani Tori. He listens to me for a few minutes. I've done a lot of work on Jod, the Jod. So I was playing Jod. Then he looks at me and says, "Ye tumko kisne sikhaya?" He asked me, "Who taught you this?" So I said, "Ji, my father." Then he looks at me and says, "Usko bhi kuch malum hai kya?" He says, "Hey, does he know anything?" I said, "That's true." He said, "Okay, I'm singing, you follow me." That was one session. Of course, he stayed there for a week, and I had about 6 hour sessions with him a whole week. So he started singing, and I was just following him. And a couple of students went and woke up my father and said, "Listen, Amir Khan Sahab has gone to your son's room, and God knows what your son is going to do. You better arrive there." So my father, not even his kurta, just his ganji and his pajama, came into that room quickly and saw Amir Khan Sahab was singing, and he sat on the floor, quickly called for his Miraj Tanpuras, tuned them, and one Tanpura was being played by a student, and Vilayat Khan Sahab was playing one Tanpura, and playing the sitar, and Ustad Amir Khan Sahab is singing for 3.5, 4 hours. So, Bhai Sahab, this is, what happens, this is not learning. Learning is one thing. You sit with your teacher and say, "Okay, teach me that ni re ga re ni re sa ni re pa." So you're learning, you're memorizing. This, what happens like this is where music seeps into the pores of your body. Ustad Amir Khan Sahab seeps into the pores of my body, and his expression of sound becomes a part of my system musically. Then to realize the humility and the mutual respect of people, one of the greatest artists who I believe, my father, is sitting on the floor playing the tanpura, and the other great artist is sitting on the bed and singing, and I'm learning. So I said, this kind of thing, these are the things I have felt and lived through in my upbringing. All these are stories that I tell through my music. That is what makes me a little, I don't want to say special, but different from other artists. This is to learn humility, to learn greatness, to understand what greatness is, to understand that if you reach a certain level, doesn't automatically mean you have to be an arrogant idiot. You understand that this is who you are, And when you practice hard and you enjoy music, they get to a point where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're sitting in an Ambassador or you're sitting in a Bentley. It doesn't matter whether you're sitting in an apartment or in a palace. That you get to a point where everything around you becomes pink. हम जिसको गुलाबी कहते हैं. And I think it's super wonderful. So I understand. I was able to see this and I was able to learn from people like this. And even today, if I'm playing a composition, that I'm singing something or I'm playing something, and if it is something that I have learned either from Pandit Bhimsen Joshi or from Amir Khan Sahab, I always stop and tell people that this is who I have learned this from. Of course, I'm playing it for you, but this is what my father did. My father learned from a lot of great artists and spent time with them, and I enjoy that. I'm very grateful that I have been given this space in this world where I can spend time with great artists and enjoy them. And where I get to in my life, I gave up a long time ago. I was very happy with what I had. This is who I am. You like to listen to me, it's great. If you don't like to listen to me, what happens, Bhai Sahab? At the very most, what is the biggest fear you have as a musician? That people will stop listening to you. No? This is the biggest fear, that you will go up on stage and people won't be there. So if you can wrap your head around that fear, that this is the worst case scenario, then you have nothing to fear. Then your life is just one cruise. And you just enjoy yourself. This is my music. I'm having fun. This is my expression. This is what I want to give. Like you come to my house, this is what I can give to you to eat. अगर आप मेरे घर आके बोलोगे नहीं मुझे तो बर्गर ही खाना है, no, I'm sorry, यार. This is what I give. This is what, and for us to enjoy each other's music, each other's lives, each other's personalities, each other's successes. If I'm a great success and youngsters around me enjoy that, it makes me feel good because they understand that this is what they're going to be tomorrow. And if I can spread the language of music or my culture with dignity and with truth, what better thing is there? Yeah. So I've been blessed. That's also another blessing, Bhaisab, to be able to sit with people like this, spend time even listening to them. It's great.
It's a real dua, and you know it's a case that when you have, like what you said, it goes into your blood, and then you balance it out, and then you're able to say, I am Shujaat Khan, I'm not. That's quite a balancing act. And
it's can you imagine to be the son of this kind of legend and in his own life be able to say, my name is Shujaat Khan, without having to say, I'm Vilayat Khan's son. It's great. Everyone knows I'm his son. And why should not people know? But I should be able to say, I'm Shujaat, and people to accept me for who I am. It's a great boon. That's
a dua. That's a
blessing.
Dua. Definitely. Two things. One is you talking of Bentley and Mercedes-Benz. I'll never forget. I have to mention this on this program. When Khasab came in '86 to meet Guruji, he was hoping that Guruji would be home and he'll speak to him being unwell. But when he came, I'll never forget. So he walks out of Mercedes and he came with few, I think, friends from Delhi. And then he sits, and before he writes the letter, he had such a demeanor. When you look at him, you feel like seeing him from. उन्होंने अपना वो डिब्बा खोला सिल्वर का, and that silver डिब्बा चारों तरफ उसमें जैस्मिन था और बीच में उनके छोटे छोटे बीड़ी रखे थे, and it looked so regal. I'll never forget that.
Bidi smoking, yes. Smoking bidi in a regal.
Not just that, how he kept it. वो जैस्मिन flowers थे उसके बीच में छोटे छोटे, and the way he opened as if कोई खजाना खुल रहा है.
Style bot. You're right.
That one thing, and joining this dot of Guruji being ill and going to New York for his bypass. And when Vilayat Khan Sahab was in his final days in Bombay in the hospital, I'll never forget one afternoon, Guruji sat for Talim, and Chanakyapuri में तब shift हो गए थे. And sikhate, every 5-10 minutes he was stopping. वो Alaya Bilawal sikha rahe the. Karte 5-10 minutes he would stop, and then all of a sudden he looked at me. And there were 2 other disciples, and he looked and he said, "You know, Vilak Bhai is very ill." Itna bola unhone. And then he must have after that maybe played for 10 minutes, and then he says, "No, I have to call him." And then he made a call. I think either he called you or he called Arvind Bhai, Arvind ji in Bombay, and he did manage to speak. And the sadness and concern in his voice, and the way then he spoke about Khan Sahib, mujhe abhi bhi yaad hai, the way he was affected and how saddened he was that his dear brother was ill and he was in a hospital.
This is all what we must learn from these people. Just learning sitar from them is not enough. We must learn from their lives. That is what a shishya is, to learn what it is to give respect, what it is to get respect gracefully, what it is to enjoy other people's music, other people's lives, without being small-hearted. And this is why God gives you in return if you are giving your emotions. So it is a learning. ये हम लोग को सिखा के चले गए हैं. Now it is up to us if we want to understand this and learn. If you don't, it's okay. It's not their loss. It is our loss.
Our loss.
These people are not here today. It's our loss. Now we only have their memories. I'm glad we enjoyed this. I'm sorry we are coming to an end of our time, but the fact that we spend time together and we talk about them and share memories, share anecdotes, share their life, this is all we have. So you must also understand as a musician, you have much more years to live, but for people like us, when we are dead and gone, this is all we leave. We are not going to leave money. We're not going to leave homes and riches and this. We will leave these memories where people who met us will sit down and talk about us. And if we leave good memories, they will talk about us with a smile. This is it. And if you don't, if you carry on your life in a way we say he was a great artist, but if there is a but added to your name, but he was that, but he did this, but why? Just live a really relaxed life. Just open. Someone says an open book. This is who I am. This is it. This is my life. And enjoy the fact that we were able to live in the same era as people like Ravi Shankar. And you got to hear him, and you got to spend time with them. People of the younger generation, they don't even know this. They don't because they don't understand. They never got to see. So but amongst us, people who were able to spend time or able to see them, to listen to them, to sit together and exchange little memories of our time spent with these great artists. It's great fun. Nabarun ne mere ko phone kiya, maine bola theek hai karte hain. We had some issues with internet, but this is what we should do. I think it's a wonderful thing. It's not, everything is not always about music, bhai sahab.
No.
Everything is not about music. No one cares. That is 1 hour of your day or 1 hour for 1 week you play one concert. The rest of the time, who are you? Is very important. When you travel with a musician, you live with them, you talk to them. That is also that's bigger part of your life, not just sitting with the sitar. It's okay. I've seen great musicians who are intolerable people. What's the point?
Correct.
Yeah. Please give my love to everyone, the family, and to Sukanya ji and everyone in London and all of you. Thank you so much for having me. It's so wonderful.
It's an honor. My pranams to you, and I'll call Nabarun Bhai for he has to do some announcement, I think, and he's doing great work. He's Guruji's nephew, and he's trying to bring the work and his dreams and his work to people and to children, especially his music. So we need your blessings, we need your best wishes, and thank you once again for coming and joining us, Bhai. It's been a pleasure,
Yes.
really, such a pleasure. Thank you.
Coming to the end, The conversation was very much a message to the young generation. Gaurav, your conversation with Shujaat Bhai was more or less a very big message to the young generation who was listening to Shujaat Bhai. It was a wonderful session. Shujaat Bhai, जाते जाते बस आज मुझे घर में खाना मिल जाए, बस वही वाला दो गाना, बस दो शब्द आपसे सुनना चाहता हूँ. जिंदगी से बड़ी सजा ही नहीं.
तो
सिर्फ दो लाइन.
अगर मैं गाना नहीं गाऊंगा तो खाना नहीं मिलेगा आपको?
नहीं मिलेगा भैया.
ये देखो, ये तो भाई ये तो सच बात नहीं है.
आप बड़े भाई हैं, आप नहीं देंगे. ये प्रसाद है हम लोग के लिए, छोटे भाई के लिए.
जिंदगी से बड़ी सजा ही नहीं, जिंदगी से बड़ी सजा ही नहीं, और क्या जुर्म है पता ही नहीं.
क्या बात है.
और क्या जुर्म है पता ही नहीं. इतने हिस्सों में बट गया हूँ मैं, इतने हिस्सों में बट गया हूँ मैं, मेरे हिस्से में कुछ बचा ही नहीं.
क्या बात है.
अब तो खाना पक्का हो गया.
बिल्कुल भाई साहब, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. Thank you so much for being with us. Love you so much, Shujaat bhai. We love so much. Sukanna Maima is writing also in her message that we love you, Shujaat. And Anushka is also seeing the show, so she is also watching. And
please, like I said, please send everyone there my love and my affection, and tell them how much I enjoy their music, and I'm glad that we were able to listen to each other. Achhi cheez hai. Like I said, we must all now just enjoy our world, time in this world, have a little fun. Please, my love and affection to everyone.
Thank you.
Good
night. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night. And to the viewers of Pandit Ravi Shankar Music Foundation, next week we are once again at 8 p.m. sharp with other eminent personalities talking about Panditji. Good night.